Well, welcome. We are making a video today for you to help you know what to expect when you come back to church. If you are coming back this Sunday, as we have our phase one of our reopening the doors of church. So there are 23 phases to phase one. Well, maybe not phases, but 23 different things that I will kind of share with you about so you know what to expect when you come back to church. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about right here, since we're out here, is in the parking lot. This is the parking lot if you are coming into church that you will be parking in, so that we can have the parking lot on the other side for those who will be listening to the FM broadcast. Because then those listening on the other side for the FM broadcast will be able to drive through underneath the large canopy on that side in order to receive communion. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but since we're here in the parking lot, I wanted to show you that for the people coming in, this is the parking lot to park in, and we will have some of the elders and other members helping with parking on that day also. So as we come into church, we'll see that these are the doors that will be opened. Only these doors will be opened, the ones by the narthex, and weather permitting, we'll have the doors propped open so that people will not have to handle the doors. You can just walk straight in and walk straight out after the service is over. So the next thing is, as we come in, have your breakfast beforehand, because we won't have any coffee or refreshments that are available at church, of course. We won't have the offering, other than we do have an offering basket in the center of the narthex. Also, one thing that we won't be having is any handshakes or hugs, or not that we really do it that much, greeting one another with a holy kiss. All of that will be out, at least for the time being, while we're in phase one of reopening the church doors. Also, we won't be having any groups gathering together, closely talking, etc. We ask that you please refrain from that, and also we ask that you please wear face covering or a mask as you come into the church, especially for people that may be uncomfortable in another situation where that is not the case. It's just bearing in mind we want everyone to feel as safe and be as safe as possible. So as we continue walking a little further into the church building, you can see, if you look into the church, we have things set up a little bit. There are some things that are available. One is we have hand sanitizer. There will be more in the narthex, and we also have some hand sanitizer in the pews that is available for people to use. Every other pew is reserved for our puppets, and they are very good at practicing social distancing. So if you could sit in the other pews, that would be great. If you've been to like Melody Gardens, you see that they have some tables that are set up for unicorns and things like that. We don't have unicorns here, but we do have some puppets that our puppet group very graciously donated. And just along with that, you can see that we have some of the pictures of our congregation members that are still up in the pews from when you sent those in. So thank you very, very much for doing that. That is greatly appreciated. So as you come into church, you can see that we have all up and down along the center aisle here some signs that are spaced out 6 feet apart. The idea being, if you are in a family group where you're normally together, you can be together in church. But otherwise, if you're like two individuals from two different families, you need to try to keep that 6 foot spacing. The pews aren't marked off because we figured you can adjust accordingly. But here in the aisle, you can see, especially when it comes time for things like communion, we have signs showing the 6 foot spacing to help out with that a little bit. We'll do the best we can and try to make things, again, as comfortable for everybody and as safe for everybody as we can. So we've gone through a lot of things already. We as you come into church, you may seat yourself. If the church fills up, since we have the social distancing and also because of every other pew, then we have chairs that are set up in the fellowship hall. It's a little dark in there right now, and we will adjust accordingly. We don't know how many people will be here on Sunday. We realize many people will be staying home and partaking of our worship service through other means, such as the Facebook Live that we are actually broadcasting tonight, Thursday night, of the worship service. That will be, for the most part, very similar to the worship service that we do on Sunday, with some exceptions that we'll talk about in a little bit. So, as you can see as you look around, also everything will be sparkly clean. Our maintenance staff has been carefully cleaning and sanitizing the whole church building, and we'll keep on doing that, including the bathrooms, that we have as clean of facilities and sanitary as possible. Also, if you look up front, it's a little hard to see right now because you can get a glimpse at our setup for the FM broadcast and the live streaming. This is one reason why it just wouldn't work to live stream at the same time that we have an actual live service. So all of that equipment is set up there. But you'll notice if you look real carefully that the communion rail is taken down. That is for the sanitary purpose of, we don't want that being a cause of a spread of germs right now. So as we have communion, you will be standing up in front to receive communion. Unless you would like communion in your pews, then we'll come and give you communion in your pews if you normally do that. For communion, also, myself or anyone else serving communion may be wearing special protective clothing, like a face shield perhaps even. It's just to make sure that everything is safe and taking just a few extra precautions. Don't let that be alarming to you or disturbing, but we do want to take as many precautions as possible. Also, we'll be using the fellowship cups, and we'll have a special video for that we have for you. I'll show you how to open those up, but everything will be all self-contained and all sealed, and then you can open that and take your own wafer and your own grape juice. We'll be using that for the time being, and as things progress, hopefully we can get back to normal, the way of doing things before too terribly long. But this is a good sanitary way of doing things, at least for right now. And just kind of as an aside, some people that you see will be happy and cheerful, in fact, overjoyed to be in church, while others will be a little skeptical perhaps and a little worried and nervous about getting back to church. And so we just ask you to be patient and understanding with one another as we go through this process together. Another thing, as you listen to the beautiful organ music as Mary is practicing in the background, we will have organ music on Sunday. The liturgy and the hymnody will be a little bit different. It'll be shortened and simplified. Again, that is with the thought that we want to at least minimize as much as we can the possible spread of any germs, while at the same time giving people the opportunity to sing and worship together. We won't be having a contemporary service separately at this time. Again, that takes a little more doing with getting the worship band together, and we're sticking to one service right now to get that in place, to know what we're doing with that before we add any additional services. So the service will be a little bit shorter on Sunday. We'll have communion, like I said. As we walk forward, I'll show you a little more about that. Dana made these signs, and it has the Christian questions with their answers on it. And we'll cut through a pew here by some of the puppets with their lovely Easter hats that they are wearing. Very nice outfits. So you can see here, we have some receptacles to place the packaging from your fellowship cups after you receive communion. So the ushers will be ushering people forward from the pews and forming a small line. And as you come here, even though it's basically a guideline because some people will be in family groups and be standing together, but here as you receive communion in front, this just gives you a little idea of spacing apart to help again maintain that social distancing. As we come over here, you can see some of our equipment for our FM broadcast, and we'll use this as a way of reminding people that if you want to listen to the FM broadcast on Sunday, that'll be in the parking lot over on, I guess we could call it the north side, even though it's not true north. And again, you'll be able to have communion forming a line and driving underneath that large canopy there. One of the pastors will be giving communion there, and one of the pastors will be giving communion here. Also, as we go through everything here, make sure I get everything on my checklist. Just want to remind you that we will, as I said, live stream the service tonight, Thursday night at 6:30, and as long as we're in phase one, we'll do that each Thursday night. However, we will concurrently premiere our video on YouTube and Facebook and whatever else on Sunday morning concurrently with our live service so that you can also watch that updated video on Sunday if you choose to do that. That'll be available, of course, online after that, and we'll also try to record the service and broadcast that on FM to the just nearby surrounding area here next to church, and that's on 96.3 FM. And the last thing really to talk about is that we won't have any printed material in the pews. We will be able to show the service on the screen. The other day, with help from Dana, I put some new light bulbs in the projector, so that should be ready to go. You'll be able, if you're attending in person, to see the hymns and so forth up on the screen. And even if you are watching one of the videos, you'll be able to see some of the slides that we have prepared to go along with the service. So we'll keep monitoring the situation closely. Hopefully we can remove some of the restrictions as soon as possible. Please keep watching for more information, and thank you for your patience and understanding. May God bless you and keep you in His gracious care.